Was Renfield a spooky good time? Well, I'm here to talk about that right now on my review of Renfield coming up. Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams, and today, whatever time it is, I have got a spoiler-free review for Renfield. This movie just hit the theaters today, and man, I've got some thoughts about this. What are your thoughts about it? Let me know down below in the comments. Just also keep in mind, this is just an opinion. Everyone's got their opinions. Everyone's free to their opinions, and good lord, it is bright in here. Anyways, feel free to be respectable of my opinion and everyone else's down below in the comments as well. I want to jump into this though, right off the bat. I'm going to start with the good on this. This was a fun mix of horror and humor. Like, I feel like this is a really good way to do it. I would put it like on par with like the silliness of Shaun of the Dead. I really felt like it was a lot along the lines of that. If you're wanting a good horror comedy, this definitely fits that bill perfectly. Seriously though, it's a little too bright in here. There we go. I feel like it's a little bit better. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So this movie is a very like ultra violent movie, I would say. Definitely got a lot of good gore effects going on with it. Although I say good, knowing full well the CGI is a little cartoonish in this, but it's supposed to be. This is the kind of movie that you expect. Like, everyone's supposed to be being ripped apart, blood, guts everywhere, and it's supposed to look like a cartoon. I feel like that adds to like the charm and the character of what this movie is trying to do. My out of the theater reaction, I said that this movie was a lot like the action and gore was a lot like Deadpool. Only maybe a little bit squishier, and I feel like that's a very, very valid, good comparison for this movie in particular. So if you're not a huge fan of gore, this might not be the best movie for you. I will say it does look like almost everyone involved in the cast looks like they're just having the time of their life. It's like they got the script to this, they read it and like, oh hell yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. And those are the kinds of productions that I feel like when they do that, that really translates well to the audience, because man, I was sitting there, I was like, I want to be up there like with them having a good time. That looked like a fun party to be a part of. So I feel like everyone did phenomenal in this movie. This is actually, I'm gonna have to say, this is probably one of Nicolas Cage's funniest roles like ever. He just really knocks it out of the park with the like over the top. You know how Nicolas Cage is, that over the top, extra mega acting, whatever you want to call it. He definitely brings it with this, and yeah, the makeup effects and everything that they do on him worked out very well. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Nicolas Cage in this movie. Also, Awkwafina, Nicolas, Hoult both did phenomenal at this job, and I really like what they brought to it. This is probably one of the silliest I think I've seen Awkwafina as well, while she's trying to play like the straight-laced cop, and I feel like it worked very well within the context of this movie. And yeah, I feel like it was a blast, like good time, no complaints as far as the acting and what everyone put into this movie. I thought it was great. And then of course the only other thing I would say is a kudos to this movie was the use of the Dracula references in this movie. I mean, primarily, I don't want to spoil anything. This has been spoiler free. I would say like primarily the uses of the Dracula references at the beginning of this movie, not giving too much away. I love them. The connections that they make to the lore of Dracula, or in particular Dracula movies, I feel like they did really good. It was enough to make me almost want to stand up and start clapping and like, bravo, bravo, y'all did a phenomenal job. But, I mean, I really can't expand upon that. That's actually probably my favorite part of this entire movie, is what they did with that. And, well, I mean, I loved it. So, yeah. Yeah, so getting on to the bad, though. This movie is, like, I would say super cheesy, kind of flimsy. I mean, this isn't, like, the strongest, like, most epic story. And I'm pretty sure that's what you were all expecting anyways. It is, like I said before, the humor of the silliness makes this have to take place outside of essentially what you would believe to be the real world of everything. So again, you're really having to suspend disbelief in this movie as far as like not just the fact that obviously a vampire exists, but like how people interact and how things move. That makes it just a little weird as well. And then piggybacking off of that story being like flimsy and stuff, the editing can sometimes be very like, what was it, like the super pace. That's typically in the action scenes, which I actually really like the action scenes. I think they're probably a big part of the fun of this movie. But the editing can be like really super fast paced, which makes it kind of hard to see some things. You know, like the Transformers is obviously the worst comparison for this because all the honking machinery and metal, you don't know who's hitting who. It's a little easier to understand than that, but it is like still kind of like that super fast, quick pace fight scenes, and that makes it kind of difficult to see, especially in one scene. There's one fight scene that happens like at an apartment complex outdoors in bright light, and it's just a lot of heavily armed military police people, and it's really hard to see like who's really fighting who or who's shooting who's jumping or flipping or whatever. You can't really tell, and that's I hate it when I see that, but I mean, still, overall, I don't think that was enough to necessarily kill it for me. The action scenes are still a blast to go through, and I absolutely love it. And then again, also still talking about how logic doesn't quite seem work in this. There's a lot of like logical leaps that you have to take to be able to make sense out of what's going on in this story. One particular one, there's a weird thing that doesn't make any sense about how a person interacts with the DUI checkpoint. It was very strange and silly, and like what happened there seemed to be only there to introduce characters and move the plot along. I mean, it's weird, but I mean, still within the context of how this movie is, what kind of movie this actually is, it still fits because this isn't like big epic. I'm not expecting Lord of the Rings quality out of this kind of movie. It's a fun little popcorn flick, and I believe it should be looked at and treated as such as well. Anyways, my final thoughts for this movie, it was a good time. It's goofy, it's over the top, it's creative, and as you can tell, I like goofy, over the top, and creative. It's definitely a movie that really fills a really good void in my soul lately. Anyways, if you like the type of movies, if you're missing that fun, fast-paced action that we got from like John Wick 4 a couple of weeks ago, but you need a little horror, and you're itching for that Evil Dead Rise that's coming out next week. This is gonna fill a nice little void in between those, kind of connecting those dots very nicely. So yeah, I do highly recommend go see this. Go see this in the theater. Crowd full of people in the theater, all laughing at all the jokes and stuff. That makes it even better. So yeah, I highly recommend go check this out. For a grade on this, if I was going to rank it out of 10 being the highest, I'm probably going to go ahead and give it an 8. The silliness, the goofiness that I was saying earlier, yes, you have to suspend the disbelief for that. But I mean, it's still a fun little popcorn flick, and it's exactly what I needed specifically today because
I'm not feeling good, man. It's rough out there, and yeah, I need some humor like this to kind of help lift my spirits, so to speak.
Anyways, what did you think of this trailer? Let me know down below. Again, let us know your opinions. Eager to see what you thought of it as well. Make sure you follow us at CinefanaticsMLP on Twitter and Instagram. While you're down there below, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe as well. You can follow me personally at RobertAdamsMLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Also, YouTube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP. That's going to do it for this review. We will see you on the next one. Good evening, children of the dark, and the music they make. Or what music they make, or some music they make. I don't know. Hopefully it's not ska. Anyways, later. Should I try to I don't know how I'm gonna do the... I don't know if I'm gonna do the full vamp... Ooh. Gross.